Look at me. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to dismantle the way you see the world. 5 centuries ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli wrote down the raw, unfiltered truths of power. Not fairy tales. The real blueprint. His work was so dangerous, so brutally honest. It was banet, and yet, every king, every CEO, every ruler in the shadows, they've all studied it, while publicly pretending they haven't. Why don't they teach this? Because ignorance is easier to control. They told you that understanding power is evil. That strategy is manipulation. That seeing the world clearly makes you cynical. Let me tell you something. Weakness disguised as virtue is still weakness. And tonight, we trade weakness for clarity. Het. Ready. The first truth. Your father never told you. People are not logical. They are not rational. Stop believing that. They are emotional animals. Their primary driver, avoiding pain, seeking comfort. Machiavelli said it. Men judge more by the eyes than by the hands. Translation, they choose what looks good, not what is good. Watch it. Your friend who asks for advice and ignores it because it's hard. The coworker crying about bills. With a $7 coffee in their hand. The woman who says she wants kindness, but her pulse only raises for the man who plays the game. Here's your takeaway. Burned into your mind. Stop using logic. Logic is a whisper. Emotion is a sledgehammer. You don't convince someone with facts. You move them with feeling, with imash, with the promise of feeling better about themselves right now. The man who understands this controls every room he walks into. Now, your father told you loyalty is sacred, that you give it freely. Machiavelli, he had a different view. He said, since love and fear can hardly exist together, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Hear the brutal truth. Loyalty without return is just servitude. Think. That friend who only calls when he needs something, that's not loyalty. That company that calls you family before they fire you, that's not loyalty. That partner who expects your everything while keeping their options open, that is not loyalty. Be fiercely loyal, but be even more fierce in revoking it when it's not returned. A man who gives loyalty where it's not earned isn't honorable. He's a target. Machiavelli's lesson: inspire loyalty through your strength and your value, never through your need. This one, your father definitely didn't teach you. Your reputation is not about being liked. It's about being respected. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Perception is the only reality that matters. Most men think being authentic means showing all your cards. Wrong. Strategic authenticity means you control the narrative. You show what serves your purpose, want to be seen as competent. Never bring problems, only solutions. Want to be valued, be come scarse. Availability is cheap. Want to be seen as powerful? Never explain yourself to people who don't matter. Consistency, mystery, controlled vulnerability. That's a magnetic reputation. Your father said, avoid conflict, be the peaceful one. Machiavelli said. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. Let that sink in. Conflict isn't an accident. It's the constant background noise of life. In your career, someone wants your chair. In your relationship, someone eyes your place. In society, someone tests your boundaries. If you're not prepared, you have already lost. But preparation isn't paranoia. It's not about walking around expecting a knife in the back. That's fear. True preparation is confidence. It's the unshakable knowledge that when a test comes in, you have the resources, the skill, and the mindset to handle it. Not to merely survive it, but to navigate it in a way that leaves you stronger. The successful man isn't looking for a fight, but he's never surprised by one. He trains in peacetime. He builds his skills, his wealth, his network before he needs them. He does the hard work when no one is watching, so that when everyone is watching, the work looks easy. This is about creating options. The man with no savings has no choice but to accept a terrible job. The man with no network has no leverage. The man with no physical or mental strength has no resilience. Conflict, when it finds him, becomes a crisis. But for the prepared man, conflict is merely a situation to be managed. It's a puzzle, not a catastrophe. He has savings, so he can walk away from a toxic deal. He has a network, so he can find a new opportunity. He has strength, so he can endure pressure without breaking. This readiness does something profound. It changes your posture. It changes the energy you emit. Predators, whether in the boardroom or the bar, are masterful at sensing vulnerability. They hunt the unsure step, the hesitant glance, the silent plea for approval. Your preparation makes you invisible to that radar. You emit a silent, low-frequency signal. I am not Machiavelli's genius. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Be both. This is the core of the strategic mind. The fox's cunning isn't deceit, it's foresight. It's the ability to read the field, to see the hidden incentive, to understand the why behind someone's smile or their promise. It's recognizing the trap of a bad contract, a flattering liar, or a short-term gain that leads to a long-term loss. The lion's courage isn't blind aggression in its presence. It's the unwavering will to stand your ground on what you know is right. It's the strength to deliver a hard no, to defend a boundary, to walk away from a table that disrespects you. The fox sees the trap. The lion has the courage to avoid it, or the power to tear through it. Most men live as sheep, content in the pasture, unaware of the roles of fox and lion. Some become cynical foxes, seeing traps everywhere but too timid to claim their territory. Others become reckless lions, all roar and charge, constantly stumbling into snares they never saw coming. You must integrate both. Develop the fox's eyes and the lion's heart, the strategy and the strength. One without the other is a path to failure. Here's the biggest lie you were sold. Just be nice, and people will like you. Machiavelli knew the deadly difference between being nice and being good. Nice is weak. Nice avoids hard truths to avoid discomfort. Good is strong. Good does what? Right. Even when it's difficult. Why does this confusion paralyze so many men? Because we're taught that social harmony, being liked, being agreeable, is the ultimate goal. We sand down our edges, swallow our opinions, and trade our authenticity for a fleeting sense of belonging. We become pleasant. And in the ruthless calculus of human respect, pleasant is often synonymous with irrelevant. Why do they say they want a nice guy, but choose the other? It's not a conspiracy against kindness. It's a primal, instinctual response. They confuse nice with weak. They mistake agreeable for good. Weakness, no matter how politely packaged, is repulsive. It signals an inability to protect, to provide, to lead. It offers no edge in a world that demands one. Nice guys seek approval. They want the gold star. Their compass is external, pointing toward the smiles and nods of others. A nice guy will hear a terrible idea and say, "That's interesting," because conflict is scary. He will watch someone he cares about make a destructive choice and bite his tongue, because it's not his place. Good men command respect. Their compass is internal, pointing toward their own code. A good man will hear a terrible idea and say, "I disagree, and here's why." He will have the difficult conversation with a friend, not to be cruel, but because true loyalty sometimes requires causing a small pain now to prevent a catastrophe later. He understands that respect is earned through principled action, not through constant agreement. Look at any leader, any champion. Are they universally described as nice? Not by the common definition. They are described as demanding, focused, intense. Just, they are admired, not for their pleasantness, but for their competence and their integrity. They can be often profoundly so, but their kindness is a choice, a strength they extend. It is not their default, desperate setting. Strength with a heart is attractive. It is compelling, magnetic, and safe. Weakness with a smile is pathetic. It is transparent, unstable, and ultimately a burden. You must learn to decouple these concepts in your mind and in your actions. You can be kind without being weak. Kindness is the conscious choice to alleviate suffering when you have the power to do so. You can be good without being nice. Goodness is the commitment to truth and right action, regardless of its social cost. Machiavelli's warning. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. This is the fate of the chronically nice. Their need for immediate approval, for the avoidance of immediate discomfort, makes them perfect victims for anyone with a stronger will and a plan. They obey the immediate need to be liked, and in doing so, surrender their long-term power. Don't be the victim. Be the one who sees the pattern. Be the one who acts from principle, not from need. So, here we are. 5 truths. Your lens on the world is now permanently altered. This isn't about becoming manipulative. It's about becoming unshakable. It's about finally seeing the game everyone is playing. While they pretend the game doesn't exist, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But let's redefine those terms finally, with clarity. To be loved in Machiavelli's sense is to be cherished for the comfort and pleasure you provide. That affection is fickle. It disappears the moment you fail to please. To be feared is to be respected for the consequences you command. Your strength, your will, your capability. That respect is durable. It persists even in your absence. The ideal, the pinnacle, is to command both. A respect so deep it borders on awe, and a genuine care for those in your circle. But if the world forces a choice hand, it often eschews the foundation of respect. You can build a house of love upon a foundation of respect. You cannot build a house of respect upon a foundation of love alone. It will crumble at the first storm. But the ultimate goal, the final safeguard, is this. Above all else, never be ignored. To be ignored is to be powerless. It is to be a ghost in the machine of your own life. Your ideas are dismissed. Your presence is forgettable. Your boundaries are invisible. Ignorance is not bliss. It is oblivion. The knowledge you now hold is your antidote to oblivion. You understand the emotional engine that drives people? You seek loyalty as a reciprocal bond, not a shackle. You know your reputation is the most important story ever told about you, and you are its author. You accept conflict as a law of nature and prepare for it, so it cannot break you. You distinguish the sterile politeness of nice from the formidable integrity of good. This knowledge is not a weapon for petty conquests. It is a toolkit for sovereignty. It is for the most serious project you will ever undertake. The intentional construction of a life that is truly your own. A life of impact, not just activity, of respect, not just recognition. You now see the currents beneath the still water. You understand why things happen as they do. The filter is off. The game is visible. Now, go play. Build with intention. Act with principle. And move through the world not as a passenger, but as a pilot. And remember, I probably shouldn't have shown you this, but it's done. If this just ripped the veil off your eyes, you need to be right here for what's next. This was just the surface. In the next video, I break down Machiavelli's most dangerous principle, the psychology of scarcity and validation. How to structure your interactions so that people are not just willing, but desperate to earn your approval. How to become the prize, not the pursuer. How to flip the script entirely. But don't click if you're not ready. This rabbit hole, it gets much, much deeper. What you do with this site, that's up to you. The first move is always yours.